So your career trajectory is you go to the Olympics, you do very well.
The Olympic experience was one of the best things in your life, though. I mean, it changed your life. Winning the medal, coming home, being on Oprah, being here at the gym. Like, Edmund always says, the Olympic experience helped you become who you are today, an MMA champion.
But there's one thing, you know, being sure in your mind that something's going to happen and actually witnessing it happen. Instead of going to college, I told my mama I wanted to be an MMA fighter, and she just looked at me and said, "It's the stupidest fucking idea I've heard in my entire life." Yeah, is this real life right now? I'm not sure.
But like all the champions that came before her, you can't stay on top forever.
Judo turned mixed martial artist.
Beautiful. Beautiful. She's hurt.
Anna's in trouble.
She's hurt.
Oh! Holly looking to finish.
He's out.
Holly Holm is the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I think I'd just rather not talk about that right now.
We're going to talk about it. Ronda was born in Riverside, California, and right from the moment she entered this world, there were complications.
When you were born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around your neck.
Yep.
It was very clear early on that Ronda Rousey was meant to be a fighter.
What happens is that causes a loss of oxygen. It's pretty remarkable because you didn't talk till you were 6 years old. Were your parents concerned that you had brain damage or that there was something severely wrong with you?
My mom was very concerned because she has a PhD in educational psychology, so she knows exactly where you're supposed to be at which stage, and my sisters were so advanced for their age. They were really ahead of the curve. So when I wasn't really speaking, she was really concerned. Everyone thought I was deaf for a while, and I was actually never even allowed to know that there was anything wrong with me.
Now just quickly, if you're a martial artist and you're interested in taking care of your health, feel free to subscribe to the newsletter. The link for that will be in the description below. Now with her parents realizing the issues with her speech and the seriousness of this situation, they decided to move to North Dakota when she was 3 years old. And once this issue was resolved, she started training judo with her mother. Her mother was a decorated judoka herself and was the first American woman to win a world championship in judo. Having a former world champion as your mother clearly had its advantages. And in April 2006, Ronda became the first female US judoka in nearly 10 years to win an A-level tournament. She went 5-0 to claim gold at the Birmingham World Cup in Great Britain, and in February 2007, Ronda Rousey moved up to the 70kg bracket, where she ranked as one of the top 3 women in the world. She also won the gold medal at the 2007 Pan American Games and the silver medal at the 2007 World Judo Championships. And in 2008, Ronda Rousey competed at the Olympic Games in Beijing, winning the bronze medal. And with that victory, Ronda Rousey became the first American to win an Olympic medal in women's judo since its inception as an Olympic sport in 1992. Ronda Rousey was definitely on the rise, and she decided to retire from judo at 21 after the Olympic Games. And it was time for a new challenge: mixed martial arts.
If you didn't go to the Olympics, where would Ronda Rousey be now?
Ronda started training MMA in 2009 at the Hayastan MMA Academy. Rousey trained with teammates much bigger than her, and she got frustrated quite often. Her teammates reported in training that she would cry regularly when she'd get thrown to the ground by her male counterparts. The cracks in her mentality showed quite early in her career, and we'll talk about that later.
It wasn't too long ago I walked in this gym and nobody wanted to work with me.
Rousey had her first amateur bout in 2010, and the combined duration of her 3 amateur fights was under 2 minutes. In 2011, she was ready for the big time and made her pro debut with Strikeforce. Ronda Rousey challenged Miesha Tate for her Strikeforce title on March 3, 2012 in Columbus, Ohio, after having 2 dominant first-round finishes in the organisation.
And there she's looking for the armbar in the opening minute of the fight.
It's dislocated already, I thought.
Minute remaining in the first round. Ronda Rousey extending the arm. She's got to squeeze her knees a little bit. Tate hanging on, desperately trying to survive.
Oh, she's gonna break it.
Oh, it's over. Rousey has done it. 5 professional fights, 5 first-round armbar submissions. Ronda Rousey is the new Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion.
She ended up defeating Tate by submission due to an armbar in the first round, dislocating Tate's elbow to become the new Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion.
You won the title about 2 months ago, earlier this spring. What did it feel like to win?
It felt a lot like being in a movie, you know, that
Yeah?
first time that you watch Rocky and you're like, oh my God, it must be so cool.
It was exactly like that, actually.
The Ultimate Fighting Championship acquired Strikeforce in 2011.
UFC has purchased Strikeforce. Is that true?
That is true. Let's face the facts. Strikeforce is a brand that fans have come to like. That they do have a following.
And in November 2012, they announced that Ronda Rousey had become the first female fighter to sign with the UFC.
There's never been a scenario where a woman could kick a man's ass.
Dana White officially announced at the UFC pre-fight press conference between Henderson and Diaz that Ronda Rousey was the first UFC women's bantamweight champion.
I'm going to make it official right now. The first ever UFC women's champion, Ronda Rousey. If she puts her hands on you, your feet will come up from underneath you.
Yeah.
She will drop you on your head. No fighter has ever fought in the UFC that has had more attention than she has. It's a fact.
You don't want to lock horns with an Olympian, and the idea that, she's a woman, I wouldn't be scared. She'll break your fucking arm, man.
She takes this guy, and they're on hardwood floors. His feet go straight up in the air, and she literally comes down 150 pounds on top of him. When you see this guy laying there on the ground, he's in pain. There's no way she didn't break his ribs.
I've heard this week a lot of comparisons actually to Brock Lesnar as far as the amount of interest in somebody debuting in the UFC. Is that a fair comparison?
No, she blows him out of the water. This is without a doubt the most media attention we've ever had leading up to a fight, without a doubt. And when I talk about media attention, I'm talking about big time media.
Fight. And here we go. Oh, now this is bad. This is the armbar position. It's all over once again. First round armbar. Slowly but surely gets herself in this position where she can pry that arm loose.
She was absolutely incredible. I mean, the way she finished her opponents was absolutely spectacular. Liz Carmouche, armbar. Miesha Tate, armbar. Kat Zingano, armbar. I mean, it's no wonder she got the nickname Arm Collector.
They call you the Arm Collector.
And in 2014, that's when things really started to pick up for her. She starred in several movies, was begged to come on talk shows. I mean, the attention and star power that Ronda Rousey had was absolutely nuts. I mean, nothing had compared to this in the UFC in the past.
It's an honor to call your fights. It really is. You're the best ever. You're just a true once-in-a-lifetime human being. You're in a very strange position right now as a champion because you've essentially cleaned out your weight class. When you look at all the people in the top 5 of the division, they're all people that you've already beaten. Where does that leave you right now as a competitor?
Well, I was really impressed with Holly Holm tonight. She's a world champion boxer. I'd always like to test myself against that level of striking.
I know the level of my striking is at, and that's one of the advantages that I have.
Ronda is at a point right now in her career that, we polish so much boxing. Her stand-up looks so great. Her boxing is looking as good. So that means she has really tremendously grown.
Now she has a chance to kind of prove herself against a very good boxer. Is this a fight that you're excited about in particular?
Absolutely. Challenges always are exciting. Holly Holmes was a champion in boxing.
Throughout Ronda Rousey's dominant reign in the UFC, the talent and popularity of women's MMA skyrocketed, and so too did the level of competition. The unfound confidence that her coach had in Ronda's striking ended up costing her big time.
Beautiful movement, beautiful countering, stayed light on her feet, she was in excellent shape. Look at this, Ronda's hurt here. Boom, head kick, goes down, and Holly is all over her. Ronda chased her, she went after her, and Holly Holm countered beautifully.
It was clear she had many holes in her game at this point, and it was very clear that other athletes within the UFC were looking to exploit it. And Ronda Rousey's mum wasn't a fan of the head coach, stating that she thought he was absolutely terrible, and he looked to exploit Ronda's star power to line his own pockets.
You probably don't want to hear some of the things that I told Ronda's coach, who I hate. I would run over him with my car if there wasn't a log.
Do you think about what happened, or have you processed it all? It's still hard.
Everyone expected you to win. I expected you, the world expected to win.
I was like in the medical room, and I was like down in the corner. I was sitting in the corner, and I was like, what am I anymore if I'm not this? And I was literally sitting there and like thinking about killing myself, and then exact second I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm like, what do I do anymore?
It was clear after her loss to Holly Holm that the biggest issue she had was not with her performance. It was with her mentality. For a fighter to cry and be suicidal after one contest, it does leave a lot of questions.
The major announcement.
Well, the thing that everybody's been waiting for a good year.
Ronda Rousey will be fighting on December 30th.
In Vegas, that's the end of the year. That's December 30th. In Las Vegas.
Yep. Ronda's plan right now is to come back and try to win her title back.
That is the first fight announced for UFC 207.
Ronda had a bad loss, obviously, and lost her title, but, you know, she's still Ronda Rousey at the end of the day.
This is an incredibly important fight for you to defend your title. Give us your thoughts on what tomorrow night means to you.
Means everything to me. Be ready for tomorrow night.
Here we go! She's walking Ronda down. She tagged her again. Over and over. Amanda Nunes. Big combination. That's it. It's it. It's over. All over. Just like that. Wow.
Champion of the world, Amanda, the Lioness Nunes.
The big shocker of the night, Ronda Rousey getting finished in 40 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever it was. When I walked out of the arena, people were crying.
Were you surprised that she seemed willing to punch with you a little bit, at least to start?
I know she's gonna strike with me because she because her boxing coach told her she have a good strike. She thinks she's a boxer, you know. He like put this thing in her head and make the girl believe in that. I don't know why he did that. He put like some crazy thing about his boxing, and then like her career started like going down.
Do you think that's it for Ronda? Do you think she retires? Do you think that's it for her?
Yeah, that's it for her.
In your opinion, what happened to the young girl that was
Ronda Rousey?
Yes.
There was some holes in her approach that were exposed by Holly Holm. She was very, very confident while she was the champion. And some people would say arrogant. And because of that, there's all these people that are waiting for you to fall. What she should have done is revamp her camp or not fight. When she built the women's bantamweight division and became this dominant force and stopped all these people and looked invincible, all those women were coming up below her, and they were getting better, and they were evolving, and they were like the rest of MMA. They were reaching this incredibly high level. The women are way better today than they were. And Ronda, in a lot of ways, as spectacular as she was, had a very limited approach. She didn't kick. She punched, but she wasn't necessarily like the most brutal knockout puncher, and she wasn't necessarily the most skillful boxer. She didn't really have a tremendous amount of experience.
And if you do like this sort of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel.